Hey, welcome back to Happy Little No Trees. Today we're going to talk about grading film scans. Now, that's kind of scary, isn't it? I don't know. It's one of those things where you get your film done professionally with film, and it's film, and then it is then given to you in a scanned format for the digital intermediate grade. And this is what we get. Now, out of the box, we could take this and put this directly into JB249. It's not going to look good as our output because this is wrong. So we're going to talk about how to get this to be a better looking image. And hopefully by the end of this little talk, you'll have a better understanding of a film scan. So a film scan, you film it on the film with the camera. And what happens then is that it gets scanned and then inverted. So normally you would get there's the raw linear image that is captured, and then they invert it and apply whatever contrast log curve they want to it, depending on the scanner, and you get that. And that's what you grade on. But then our formulations for getting back out to display, like JP2499, we're expecting DaVinci Wide Intermediate, which means this footage isn't there. Now, we could just use a color space transform right here and deal with it that way, where let's just say we're going from ACES to Cineon with Cineon Log to DaVinci Wide Gamut to an intermediate and put that into JP249. And we have a little bit better of a looking image. Now, she's still very green and things like that. And you can grade in the middle, and hopefully maybe things work out for you. That's one way. But you have no control over how that got from Cineon Film Log to DaVinci Wide Intermediate, which is what JP249 right here is wanting. Now, the question is, there's a new tool that came out recently that I don't think it's available publicly, but it's available if you have Genesis or something like that, called Compass. I only have the trial of it because I wanted to see how it did, but it gives you some options, like to go from, you're saying your film scan negative, that's in this inner positive state, to a digital format that JP249 will want, which is DaVinci Wide Intermediate. And we're going to then be able to adjust where mid-gray is and make contrast adjustments to that image. This is something you couldn't do with just the normal CST to get that image more suitable. So if we're looking at it like this with these controls, we can go like this, and you can see we're just spinning these controls around to make something that looks like it's DaVinci Wide Intermediate. Because if we bypass, let's bypass. So that's where DaVinci Wide Intermediate is, and we can put up here, add a node. Let's just put this here right now, and we're going to bring up a DCTL called blah blah blah. It's in this list of DCTLs in my diagnostics selection. I don't have a quick key for it. Diagnostics. We're going to show the gray. I'm going to add stops. So if we put this straight into output, this is just a linear straight curve. You can see, ooh, let's just zoom to fit. So it fits. You can see how that is set up. All right, like so. We have stops. It's a linear line on our scopes and everything like that. And we could put that straight into JP2499, and you can see what that's going to do there. And we get, this nice little rise and everything like that. As we look at our scopes, and nice little curl off, that's from JP249. And then we can see what Compass is doing if we put that straight in and go, well, this is allowing me to adjust where that falls. So if I say negative mid-gray is 0, there should be almost no change to that curve besides turning on and off the compass. But I'm able to affect that and get close to that. Now, this image that we have isn't there. It has some sort of log curve that is not where DaVinci Wide Intermediate is. So if we just put out this curve here and just turn that back on, you can see what that looks like to a degree. And we're just trying to figure out, and you can play this with by eye with compass. It's nice to do it under what you're looking at. And as we play around with compass, you can see we're trying to just get seemingly that contrast to sit where it's supposed to sit for this image. And yeah, we're playing around with it by eye, getting it close, knowing that after compass is when we're going to be doing our grading. We're just trying to get it to feel like DaVinci Wide Intermediate, because that's what JP2499 is expecting out of us. So we looked at, there's the color space transform, which doesn't give you a lot of options for doing that. And then we have compass, this new tool that has that. And then I have film space negative, which is currently dialed in for this. And you go, whoa, wait, that is way different than how things were just a second ago, right? Now, yeah, I would agree with that. Everything else was green. What changes? What is film space negative? What is the film negative space doing? We can reset this out, and you can see here we're just there. And this has similar functions. What we're going to do is set this from, let's undo. Let's just remember, because I'm just going to look at these settings so that I can remember what's going on here. It's compass, but film space negative. We're going to pipe that in, and we're going to reset that. So what it's doing is we're going from that intermediate, interpositive digital to negative. That's fine. Our input transfer, these are fine for this instance, because it's saying that in our input transfer function in film negative space in this DCTL, it's also our output transfer function, so it's how it goes from the linear math that it's doing under the hood to get back to a log curve. So we want to leave it at like that, and then we're just going to dial in. I know it says for digital to negative. You could do it in the inverse. It doesn't matter. It's just how these two variables, input mid-gray and output mid-gray, relate to each other. And you can see they flip their position and how they relate. So it's not that important to concern yourself with the mode function when you're using film negative space. It's just figuring out where is a happy place of contrast for my image. And you'd be looking at your scopes and things like that to kind of see how things are looking on your waveforms. I know this image is way off the charts of green, and that is somewhat a problem. So like right now, going into JP249, the image isn't too bad. And we got a decent placement of our contrast. We're pretty much just trying to find where in this image mid-gray sits and get it to somewhere where mid-gray for DaVinci Intermediate is, which is around 18%. So if you're looking at your log curve, you're wanting to get that mid-gray to sit down in the lower half of the image. The other thing we can do is we can fiddle with how the contrast expands above and below mid-gray when we're there. And we can just do some small tweaks like that. You can see it's helping shape how that image is right there. The other thing is there's this printer light control, which is density based, and you go, well, this image feels very tinted green. Maybe it was lit that way, maybe it's on purpose, but it is off the charts green. But you can prep this image by just pushing. Let's rotate and dial our hues back in to somewhat of a normalized range of what color is. And so I'm eyeballing my vector scope here and trying to recenter my image. So pay attention to like her teeth. are her teeth white? Like we could zoom in on those teeth and see how they are looking. I know, this is disgusting. Those teeth. It'd be rude of me to make the teeth yellow, wouldn't it? And we're just dialing those teeth in to, you could say, a white point, per se. Because this is where we started at with her teeth. Not very yellow. So we're just trying to get them back to a normalized white. So we're pulling down on the green printer light and we're pushing up on the red, pulling back on the red, and we're just getting that center right there. Now we can zoom back out to fit. And you can see on the vector scope, we're way more balanced than when we began this journey, which now we can go back in and maybe fiddle around with this contrast curve, set smooth out her, feel a little sharp on her face. Kind of soften that up a little bit, maybe just make some small adjustments here to where that mid-gray sits, how it's affecting that, soften up the image a little bit. And that is how film negative space compares to using ACES. ACES and Cineon Film Log to DaVinci Wide Intermediate, Compass with its adjustments, and Film Space Negative. Now, what we can do here is add a node, put this in here in the second. We can call this, put this in Gamma Linear. And now with we are grading like we would in a normal middle ground space. Hi there. Are you guys getting dressed?
Who's in the middle?
Yeah.
That was a good show.
Look at me.
Oh, you look very nice. Very purple. What does that say on the side? Wildly happy. Look at where my hat goes now. It was getting crushed by the door. No, I wasn't happy with that.
But you're happy with it hanging on the corner of one of your
It makes
three
it hard to
screens?
see the corner of where to make the window small.
But does it give you a little smile as you look at the camera?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings joy. I could get a hook for the wall for it to hang on.
I got a sun catcher hook somewhere that's probably not going to make it back to the Christmas box.
A sun catcher hook?
Oh, yes.
Like what is it? But those are little. It needs to have a sturdy hook, like the 3M.
Like a stocking hook.
Yeah.
Let's put those away, but there are more.
Gotcha.
Okay, bye.
All right. Anyways, so that's how these tools compare. You can see I would be privy to wanting to use, and you can see we graded in the middle, privy to wanting to use film negative space, CST, as the means to dial in the image to get something that JP2499 OpenDRT will accept. And then from there, there could be a little bit of adjustments to make it, if I had a chart to make it match a chart, like I can look at other shots. I've been playing around with this in different places. But this image was fun because it is that heavily tinted green. And I just wanted to show with the film negative space CST, you're able to remix that a little bit. If you're doing a film scan, the obvious thing is JP2499 is for digital workflows. This would be if we were pumping, so Photochemist is set up, you can see here in the node tree breakdown, that it goes from the film negative space to a grading node to a new film negative space, which this one is set up with the input transfer function of Photochemist, which is a completely unique mode that is prepping the image for Photochemist. And so it has the same controls and you can dial things in at this point, but it's really just setting things up so that when you pump it into Photochemist, you're getting the expected in processing mode for Photochemist. You're getting the expected print only mode and it's expecting linear, or no, it's expecting DaVinci Wide Intermediate because it's all set up and doing its weird thing there. And we can tell it to expect linear. That's a different processing function we're setting up. But this is just set up. The look is all there. We can do print development and do print thingies. There's some enhanced effects that I've already turned on. And then underneath we can fiddle with these settings to dial in this transform, CST, to our liking. And make small tweaks and adjustments underneath our print emulation to get it to be where we want it to be. Now this is using the same CST that we set up for JP2499, which is a helpful exercise. And then we're using this to adjust for that to get that other image. And then it's in the middle, like we did up there, where we can grade. Or if we come down here and you can see we're just boosting that, we're doing anything with this, spinning the colors around, kind of just making it be however we want her to look. Is this correct? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But I would say the flexibility that the Film Negative Space tool gives you over the CST or Compass is why it is the tool that I will be using when I grade film scans. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this little lecture, plus the slight diversion with family popping in. The link for this tool is in the description. Please take a second to check it out, and you can get it. It's a free tool for the Film Negative Space. Until next time, I'll see you somewhere. Probably here.